Hello, this is my Maths Teacher Hub 2025 predicted paper, best guess for foundation paper 3. Question number 1. Write the following numbers in order of size. So we've got fractions, percentages and decimals. I prefer to turn them all into percentages. So for example, 7/15 is equivalent to 40 or 46.6 recurring percent. This one is 64%. You should know what 2/3 is, but 2/3 is 0.66 recurring, aka 66.6%. Then you got 0.406, which is 40.6%, and then 0.4 is 40%. Once you've got them all in the same format, so percentages for me, I'm going to put them smallest first. So 40% would be the first one, so 0.4. Then we've got 0.4 or 40.6, so I'm going to put 0.406. Then it would be 7/15. And then between 64, so we've got 64%, and then we've got 2/3 at the end. There we go. Question number 2. Choose 2 words from the box to make these 2 statements correct. X is less than or equal to 10. Well, these crocodile things are called inequalities. So, and 2a plus 3b minus c, there's no equal signs in there, so it's not an equation or a formula, and it's a couple of different values, so they're terms, so you've got a couple of different terms, which would be an expression. Okay, question number 3. Write down the coordinates of point A, always starting at the 0, 0, the origin. We're going to go sideways 1, downwards 4, so positive 1, negative 4. On the grid, mark with a cross the point -2, 3. So -2 sideways, -1, -2, and then upwards 1, 2, 3. It says label it with a cross, and then that should be fine. Question number 4. On the diagram below, write down the mathematical name of the line AB. Well, it's a straight line. It goes through the centre. That is known as the diameter. Part B, on the diagram below, draw a sector of a circle. So a sector is an area, and I think of it as like a sector of a pie chart. So I'm just going to draw, you can draw any sector you want. I'm just going to draw a slice of a pie chart, and it does say shade the section. I probably should have used pencil for that, to be honest. So there we go. I'm going to shade my sector. Question number 5. Ahmed is ordering some drinks and food in a local cafe. Does he have enough to buy the food he needs? Ahmed buys 2 cups of coffee, 1 cup of tea, 1 bacon butty and 2 cheese toasties. Ahmed has a £20 note. Does he have enough? Well, we've got 2 cups of coffee, so that's going to be £3.30 plus £3.30. 1 cup of tea, so £2.50. 1 bacon butty, which is £4, and 2 cheese toasties, which is £3.75 and £3.75. Okay. Pretty standard, simple question. All I'm going to do now is total up his bill. So I've got £3.30 plus £3.30 plus £2.50 plus a £4 bacon butty plus £3.75 plus £3.75. So in total, his bill is coming up to £20.60. Remember, 0.6 means 60p. So I'm going to put £20.60. Does Ahmed have enough to cover his order? I usually finish these types of questions off with a bit of a sentence, so I would say no, Ahmed does not have enough I might say something like he's 60p short, or he needs 60p more. £60p. Okay, question number 6. Jacob is going to flip a coin 3 times. List all the possible outcomes Jacob can get. Well, he can get heads, heads, heads. He can get heads, tails, heads, 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 tails. Okay, and then he can also get tails, 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 heads, tails, and tails, tails, heads. So you should end up with 6 different combinations for that question. Number 7, we've got some index laws. We've got h to the power of 6 to the power of 3. Hopefully you remember the rule for this, but you are allowed to multiply those two together. So 6 multiplied by 3 is 18, so you should have h to the power of 18. Part B, got two parts of the question here. I've got 10 divided by 2, which I can do as 5. And then I've also got k to the 12 divided by k to the 4. And in that case, dividing powers, you are allowed to subtract them. So you should get k 12 take away 4 is 8. Okay, number 8. Louisa earns £17.40 per hour. On a Sunday, Louisa earns 1 1/4 her usual rate of pay. On a weekend, Louisa worked for 6 hours on a Saturday and 5 hours on a Sunday. Work out how much Louisa gets paid for the weekend. So on the Saturday, she gets paid her normal rate. So she does 6 hours at £17.40 per hour. So I'll do that bit first. 6 hours. So she'll get £104.40. So we need to figure out what a quarter of her rate would and then add it on. So 1 1/4, I'm going to do a quarter of £17.40. So on a Sunday, she doesn't just get £17.40, she'll get an extra £4.35 for every. So I'm going to add that to £17.40. So in total, she'll get paid £21.75 for 1 hour's worth of work on a Sunday. So she's doing 5 hours on a Sunday. So 5 times by £21.75. Let's do that times by 5. So on the Sunday, she gets paid £108.75. Obviously, it says how much does she work on the, or how much does she earn on the whole weekend. So I'm going to add them two together now, which is a total of £213.15. A brand new shed is priced at £7,000. In a sale, the shed is reduced to £5,950. What percentage has the shed been reduced by? I always do my percentages a very similar way. You've got a start value and an end value, and a multiplier in the middle. This one is always worth 100%. So we know that it was £7,000. I'm going to times it by something, and I'll end up with 5,950. So I need to figure out this value in the middle, my multiplier. So I'm going to do 5,950 divided by 7,000. So 5,950 divided by 7,000, 0.85. Now 0.85 means 85%. That doesn't mean it's fallen by 85%. It means the new value is worth 85%. So it was 100% in value. It's now 85% in value. Therefore, it is reduced by 15% in value. So 15% was the sale price. Question number 10. Work out 17 to the power of 2. This is where my calculator comes in very handy. What that is. 17 squared, 289. And this is the cube root of 3.375. Make sure you're using the actual cube root button down here. Don't put a 3 and then the square root button. So shift, get that little 3, 3.375. And the answer is 1.5. For number 11, we're also going to use the calculator. It says use the calculator to work out the value of this. So I want to try and build that as best as I can on my screen. So I'm going to start off with the 2.5 plus fraction button, square root 15.2 squared, take away 10, drop down to the denominator, 0.3. That pretty much looks identical now. The square root is covering just those top bits, the square, yep, press equals, switch to decimal. It says write down all the digits on your calculator display, so 52.05046677. Part B, write your answer to part A correct to one decimal place, which would be the 0 here. However, that 5 will go up, therefore it should be 52.1. Question number 12. The diagram shows some shapes on a centimetre grid. Okay, 2 of these shapes are congruent. Now, congruent is the mathematical term for identical. So 2 of those shapes are identical in size, lengths, and it should be F and C. It doesn't matter it's been turned, but this is a 4x2 leg, 4x2 leg. So F and C are the identical shapes. 2 of these shapes are mathematically similar. Similar basically means that then one is the exact same shape, but it's been enlarged. So which shape has been perfectly enlarged? Usually doubled, tripled. Sometimes it's been doubled, times by 1.5, so keep an eye out for that. But in this case, you can see that D is this square with a square missing, and that is a square with a square missing. So I'm going to go for D and H. That one is double the size of this one, so D and H. Number 13. 2 sizes of bags of flour sugar are available in the supermarket. 1.5 kilogram of sugar plus 30% will cost you £5, and a 1.5 kilogram sugar will cost you £5, but 20% off the normal price. Which bag offers the best value for money? So I'm going to split my working out in the middle down here. So for this particular bag of sugar, we're going to get more than 1.5 kilograms. We're going to get 30% more. So I would do 1.5 kilograms times by 1.3. That'll give me 130%. So I'm actually going to get 1.95 kilograms, and that will cost me £5. For bag B, I'm going to it's going to keep 1.5 kilograms, but it's actually 20% off the price of a £5. So it's not going to cost me a £5, it will cost me a little bit less. So I'm actually going to do 20% off is like 80% question. So 5 times by 0.8, it's going to cost me £4. Now there's lots of different ways to compare these. Some people might compare this down to 1 kilogram and 1 kilogram. I'm actually going to compare them into £1. How much kilogram would I get for £1 worth of sugar here? So I would actually divide by 5. So 1.95 divided by 5. I'd actually get 0.39 kilogram for £1. If I do the same process over here, if I figure out what this is also for £1, I just need to be able to compare something the same. So I would divide by 4 for that case. So 1.5 kilograms divided by 4, that is 0.375 kilograms for £1. So if I bought this bag, I'd get 0.39 kilograms for £1, and I'd get 0.375 kilograms for £1 if I bought this bag. So I'm going to say that you actually get more kilograms for £1. So I would say, by finishing this question off, I'd say bag A offers better value for money. Again, there's lots of different ways to do that one, as long as you show you're working out, and you can then come up with a final statement. Number 14. Sebastian has been recording how many press-ups he does each day. The pictogram shows how many he completed from Monday to Friday. From Monday to Friday in total, Sebastian completed 285 press-ups. The ratio of completed press-ups on Thursday to Friday is 11 to 8. Well, first of all, let's figure out, well, we've got 20 press-ups is worth one rectangle, so 20, 20, 20. I'm going to say he's done 60 on Monday. 20, 20, 20 and 20. Then he's done 80 on the Tuesday. 20, 20. Now this is half the size of that, so that's 10 in there. So that would be 50 press-ups on the Wednesday. Now I don't actually know how many he's done on Thursday and Friday yet, but I do know that if I add up Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, that's going to be 60 plus 80 plus 50. He's done 190 so far, so if I make a little note of that, 190 push-ups, press-ups so far. It does say in the whole week he completes 285, so I need to figure out how many push-ups we're missing. So I'm going to do 285 minus the 190, which means that in these two boxes I need to have 95 push-ups. Okay, now it does say that they're shared between 11 to 8. So in a standard ratio question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In total, we have got 95, isn't it? And we've got to share it out between those. Well, 11 and 8, that means it's actually 19 boxes. So if I do 95 divided by 19, it actually looks at 5. So that would be 11 5s, 55, and this would be 8 5s at 40. So what I need to do now is complete the pictogram. Well, the 40 would be easy for Friday. I'm going to do 2 boxes, so try and make these as neat as you can, similar size to the ones that they've done, 20 and 40. To get 55 is a bit trickier. I would do 20, 40, but then I'd need 15. Obviously, half a box is worth 10, and then a quarter of a box is worth 5. So you'd have to draw something along the lines of that for 15. So I'm going to try and draw a 15 there. So we should now have 55 in there and 40 in there, which should give a total of 285 push-ups. Number 15. Here are the first 4 terms of an arithmetic sequence. So that is subtract 3, well, there's a gap of 3, subtract 3 again, subtract 3. Write down the first negative term in this sequence. To be honest, probably the best way to do this is just to carry on the sequence. So that would be 17 minus 3 is 14, minus 3 is 11, minus 3 is 8, minus 3 is 5, minus 3 is 2, minus 3 is minus 1. So I think minus 1 would be the first negative term in that sequence. Write down the nth term of this sequence. Well, any sequence that is going down in threes is a minus 3 times table, and then usually you can do the opposite to this, the first term. So add 3 to that value, and I'm going to get 32. So positive 32. 16. Make f the subject of the formula. I'm going to think of it as, if I did have f, the first thing I would do would be add g. Then I would divide by 2 to get the value of e. So I can actually reverse this process to unlock f. So if I start with e, the opposite of dividing by 2 is times by 2, and the opposite of adding g is take away g. So I'm going to get f is equal to 2e take away g. Again, a couple of different ways to do that question, so as long as you get the right answer, that is fine. Right, translate the shape using the vector -3 and 4. Okay. Again, you can probably get away with this, but I am going to use my tracing paper just because I think it makes it a lot easier to do. I'm going to trace over the shape. Translation basically means move, so I'm going to move it 3 squares to the left and then 4 squares up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is exactly where I want my shape to be. So you've got to kind of peel this off, make sure all the corners, and once you've got a few, you can kind of run the risk. 1, 2, 3, it should be there. Make sure you're using a pencil to do these, just in case you go back later on at the end and double check and you might have made a mistake. So there is the translation of the vector. Part B, describe the single transformation that maps A onto B. So this one is a reflection, and it looks like it is in this line here. Again, you can always check these reflections. So if I trace over the shape and trace over my mirror line, then fold it over, and if it lines up perfectly, yeah, that is definitely a reflection, a mirror image of this. So how would I get the marks for this? I would have to say this is a reflection, and I'd have to tell the examiner what the name of reflection in the line, and that line is known as the perfect diagonal 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. The y is equal to x line. Okay, question number 18. The table shows the information about the ages of a runner, or ages of runners in a half marathon. Find the interval that contains the median. So to find the median, the middle value, I need to know how many people are in this race. So first of all, it doesn't tell me in the question, so I'm going to add up all the frequency quickly. So I'm going to put 120. Okay, so there are 800 people in this particular race. So the middle person will be the 400th person. So the 400th person is not in this group. So I've got 120 people so far. But if I add this group to it, I've got 120 plus 283. I've now got 403 people. So I would say that the 400th person would have been in this particular group here. So I'm going to write down the 20 to 30 group. That's the interval that would have had the median in. Part B, work out an estimate for the mean. Give your answer to the nearest integer. So to find the mean from any table, or in the particular this groups table, I'm going to find the middle of this group. So I'm going to do 15 times by 120. That's 1800. I'm going to do 25 is in the middle of 20 and 30, so 25 times by 283. That is 7075. The middle of 30 and 40 is 35. That is 11130. Okay, 45 times by 65. 2925. And the last one in between 50 and 60 is 55. I'm going to times that by 14. 770. Now to find the mean, you have to add up all of the category and then divide by how many items or people or things in the question. So I'm now going to add up all of those values. So 1800 plus 7075 plus 2925 plus 770. I'm getting a value of 23700. So like I was saying, to find the mean, or an estimate for the mean should I say in this case, 23700 divided by how many people, not how many groups there are, how many people were in this particular question. And it's coming out at 29.625. It does say give your answer to the correct, or correct to the nearest integer, which is basically the nearest whole number. So I would say my answer is 30. 29.6 would round up. Number 19, a garden slug moves at 15.2 centimetres in 1 minute and 25 seconds. Find the slug's average speed in metres per second. So this is something you've got to keep an eye out for, that's in centimetres and this is in metres. So if I want my answer in metres, I'm going to have to change this into metres. So 15.2 centimetres is actually 0.152 metres. This is a speed calculation, so you should be using your speed, distance, time triangle. So find the average speed, it's distance divided by time. So we've now got a distance of 0.152 divided by time. So seconds, 1 minute is 60 seconds and 25 seconds. So that would be 85 seconds in total. 0.152 divided by 85 seconds. That is coming out at 0.001788235 with a reoccurring there. Give your answer correct to 2 significant figures. So I would jump straight to the first one, the second one, and then cut it off. However, the 8 will have an impact on the 7, so my answer is 0.0018 meters per second. Number 20. Ursula purchased a static caravan for £46,000. Each year the caravan depreciates, which goes down, by 12%. How much will the caravan be worth in 3 years' time? So £46,000, it goes down by 12% each year, which means at the end of each year it's worth 88%. So I'm going to do times by 0.88, and you can use your little cheat, little trick for this for 3 years. So 46000 to the power of 3 years. This £46,000 caravan after 3 years is actually worth £31,347.71p. Okay. Gabriel purchased an old chest of drawers from a charity shop for £35. Gabriel purchased the drawers to restore and then sell on. Gabriel spent £8 on sanding paper, £14 on paint and £17 on new handles. Gabriel then sold the chest of drawers for £120. Work out his percentage profit. Well, to find percentage profit, you need to figure out exactly how much you've spent and how much you've made. So in total, we've spent £35 on it. Then we've also spent £8 on sanding paper, £14 and £17. So in total, Gabriel spent £74 on the chest of drawers. So once he's sold that, we're going to do, he sold it for £120. So 120 divided by 74. When I was in school, it was always new divided by old. That's the new number, that's the old number. So 120 divided by 74 is coming out at 1.621. 1.621. Which, if you think about it, it started as 100% and it's now 162.1%. So how much profit has he made? Well, he's made 62.1% profit. Number 22, the number 80 has been rounded to the nearest 10. Write down the error interval. Well, that would be 75 and 85. Use a ruler and a compass to construct a perpendicular from point E to the line FG. Right, I did have my compass here a minute ago. Oh, camera's knocked. There that puts it. Okay, so using a compass and a ruler. Make sure your compass is set up correctly. Nice sharp pencil, ideally. And then here we go. For this particular technique, I'm actually going to put the pin on F and then put the pencil on E. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a circle or part of this circle to create a mirror image for E down here. So just something like that. For G, I'm actually having to make it a bit smaller. So I'm actually going to make that one onto E. So I'm actually changing the distance on the compass, nice and smooth. There we have it. I would now use my ruler to line E up with the new cross point, and that should create a perfect perpendicular line through FG. Question 24. In the United States of America, a sports jersey costs $85. In Europe, the same jersey costs €76. We've got some exchange rates. Ethan says the jersey is cheaper to buy in Europe rather than the USA. I'm going to turn both of these costs into pounds and then I'm going to compare them. So we've got pounds to dollars. £1 is worth $1.34. And we're going to change $85. So I've got to figure out what the multiplier there is and then multiply 1 by it. So 85 divided by 1.34 is coming in at 63.43. So it means times that by £63.43. So that's how much it would cost if I bought it from the United States. Over here we've got pounds to euros, and £1 is equal to 118 euros. We're going to change 76 euros. Same process, we're going to find the multiplier by dividing. So 76 divided by 1.18, that's coming in at 64.40. So therefore I would actually say it's slightly, only slightly, but slightly cheaper in the USA. So I say, is Ethan correct? Ethan is not correct. It's cheaper in the USA. Question 25, a Venn diagram. So it says put the multiples of 4 into circle A and put the factors of 20 into circle B. So multiples of 4 would be 4, 8 and 12. Factors of 20, that's 1 times by 20, 2 times by 10 and 4 times by 5. So you've got 1, 2, 4, 5, 10 and 20, which is not on there. So hopefully you can just about see that 4 is underlined and circled, so 4 goes into the middle. The other underlined ones would be 8 and 12, so they're going to go over here because they are the multiples of 4. On the right hand side we're going to find the rest of the factors of 20, so 1, 2, 5 and 10. And then obviously any number that's not been placed, so we've got 3, 6, 7, 9, 11. 3, 6, 7, 9 and 11 into the diagram. So the diagram is complete. One of the numbers is selected at random. Work out the probability that the number is in A union B. So A union B is when you basically unify the two circles together. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of, and there are 12 numbers in the diagram. So 7 out of 12. The accurate diagram shows two locations, or the locations of 2 fire stations. Fire station C is not on the diagram, so we're going to have to draw this one in. It says it's on a bearing of 75 degrees from fire station A. So 75 degrees is roughly this direction. Problem is I don't know whereabouts on that direction line. Fire station C is on a bearing of 305 from fire station B. So if I had a full protractor, I could just measure that right round now, but we've got 180, and then I've got to carry on counting up to 305. Obviously, if you know the shortcut, you can do that as well, but 180, 190, 200, 210, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 300, 305 would be there. So where these two lines cross, that is where fire station C would be. Question 27, expand and simplify. So I'm going to expand this, we're going to get 2a, 2 times by 5 is 10. I'm going to expand this one, 3 times by 2a is 6a, and 3 times by minus 7 is minus 21. So in total we've got 2 A's and 6 A's, which is 8A, and we've got positive 10 minus 21, 10 take away 21. I mean, even if you're in the exam, you just wouldn't run the risk on that kind of stuff. Obviously it was minus 11, but just try not to do stuff in your head. Make sure you're writing it down. Factorise fully, well, this is a quadratic, so it will be a double bracket answer, and the only way to get y squared is y, and minus 6 will be made up of 1 positive and 1 negative, because it's a minus 6, and the two numbers we choose have to add together to get 5. So I'm going to go for positive 6 and minus 1. Okay. ABCD is a rectangle. The perimeter of the rectangle is 96 centimetres. The length of AB is worth 3 ADs. So this line here is 3 times longer than this length here. Work out the length of AC, which is the diagonal. What I'm actually going to do here is actually going to divide this by 2. So 96 divided by 2, which is going to give me 48, because I now know from there to there to there is 48. So let's call this one for the time being 3x, and this is x, because this one is 3 times bigger than this one. So altogether, that line and that line will add up to 4x. So if I say 4x is equal to 48, then x would have to be 12. So I'm going to say that this is 12 centimetres, and 3 lots of those would be 36 centimetres. So if I add 12 plus 12 plus 36 plus 36, I should get 96, which is what I do. However, to find the diagonal length, this is actually now a Pythagoras question, so I'm going to make some space down here. Essentially, we have got a right-angled triangle with 12 centimetres, and that is 36 centimetres. So Pythagoras theorem says the square of 12, so square 12 plus 36 squared added together should give us this value squared. So I mean, that's done the calculator. 12 squared plus 36 squared is equal to 1440. So if I square root that answer, I get 37.9473, and it says correct to 2 significant figures, so that'll be 2, the 9 will affect it, so 38 centimetres for question number 28. Final question is a solved simultaneous equations question. I'll be really upset if they don't put one of these on paper 3. So here we go. I'm actually going to, obviously there's a couple of different ways to do this, but I am going to triple the top line and double the bottom line. So triple that would give me 6x, triple that would give me minus 3y, and triple that will give me 39. Double that will get me 6x, double that will get me 4y, and double that would actually get me 25. Then I would subtract them. Minus 3 take away plus 4y. Obviously on calculator paper we can kind of get away with that. So minus 3 take away plus 4. Oh, I got the last answer from there already. Minus 3 take away plus 4. It's minus 7, so minus 7y. 39 take away 25 equals 14. So y is equal to 14 divided by minus 7. So y should be equal to minus 2. So we've got one of our answers there. Y is minus 2. So now I go back into one of these. So I'm going to go into the top one here, I think. I'm going to 2x take away a y, which we've just figured out is minus 2, equals 13. We've got minus minus 2, which is actually 2x plus 2 equals 13. And then we've got 2x equals 11. So x must be equal to 5.5 or 5.5, totally up to you. I'm going to go for 5.5. Right, that's my best guess. Hopefully some of those questions will be on paper 3 and you'll have the upper hand on other students. But yeah, thanks for watching and see you next year.